Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name's Johnny Rashman. Right, let's get straight into it. Big talk of Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk going down in Saudi Arabia in December on the same night. Right. Now, if you're looking at this from a fan's point of view, it's a dream, isn't it? I mean, who doesn't want to see that on the same night? What an event. It will be like a Super Bowl, World Cup rolled into one. To have AJ Wilder and Usyk Fury on the same card, it's unheard of. It's never been seen before in boxing, where you've had those two big main events, big stars, all on the same card. It will be a gigantic event, right? However, as the description says, it could be the worst thing that happens to boxing. Now, I'm going to explain why. Now, if you look at the description and you don't look at my video, you might think, what's this geezer talking about? He's talking absolute nonsense. How can it be bad for boxing? But like I said, I'm going to explain. Now, I did a video last year when we heard about Usyk and AJ. The rematch was being held in Saudi, and we heard the obscene amount of figures that were being brandished around and how much the fighters got paid, and nothing's been confirmed, but we all know there's the site fees going to the millions and millions, and we all know there was big money involved, right? And I said it sets a dangerous theme in boxing, because now you're going to get fighters saying, I don't want to fight dangerous fights unless I get paid Saudi Arabian money. Hence Tyson Fury didn't want to fight Usyk in April because he wanted the Saudi Arabian money. Now, we probably didn't know that there was talks of this going on in December. However, we all know that Tyson Fury didn't want to fight Usyk in April. Now, anyone can dress it up as you like. You can say what you want. I'm a Tyson Fury fan, but I'm not going to bullshit you. He didn't want to fight in April for whatever reason, right? If you read between the lines, it's because he wants the big money in December from Saudi Arabia, and you can't really blame him, to be quite honest with you. If someone's going to call you up and say, look, we're going to give you 100 million to fight in December, or you could fight for 40 million in April, what are you going to do? You're going to wait for December, aren't you? However, where does this leave boxing? Yes, now this will be a gigantic event. The build-up will be phenomenal. It'll be sensational, right? We all want to see AJ Wilder and we all want to see Fury Usyk. But the problem is, if the fighters get paid this amount of money and the teams, what happens going forward? Because anything after that, if it's not Saudi Arabian or Middle Eastern money, is a decrease, right, in wages for them. Tyson Fury is going to think, well, hold on, if I'm being given 100 million to fight Usyk, why should I fight this guy for 30 million, or this guy for 40 million, or this guy for 60 million? I want 100 million, I want 120 million. I don't agree with inflating the market. I don't think that's healthy in any industry, right? Now, I'm all for Saudi Arabia coming on board. I was a bit hesitant at first, but at the end of the day, we can talk about sports washing and things like that, but it goes on in other sports. The golf's there, tennis is there, WWE's there. I know that's entertainment, but at the end of the day, football's been there. So at the end of the day, right, boxing can't be stigmatized. It can't just be, well, boxing can't go to Saudi Arabia. Formula One's there, sports are there, right? So you have to understand these guys are serious players, right? They're not messing around. But they're overinflating the market. It's not healthy, because now what you're going to get is fighters holding out to get Saudi Arabian money. Boxing has always been known not to put the big fights on at the right time, right? The politics, and we all know what's involved. There's issue after issue. We all know, right? Floyd and Manny, a prime example of that. We're getting now Better Be a Bivol. We're having issues with that now. And it's just constant, right? It's constant where we don't get the big fights at the right time. And it's happened throughout time. Now, people may go, well, Saudi Arabia putting these fights on. But it's going to be even harder to put big fights on, because what happens if this filters down the weight? What happens if it goes to Tank and Haney and Shakur, or Crawford and Spence? They're going to look at this and think, well, hold on. Why should I fight for 30 million in Las Vegas or 40 million when I can get 100 million in Saudi Arabia? No, I don't want that fight. No. I don't want that. I'm going to hold out. That's what we're going to get. So if you think it was hard to put on fights before, after this, it's going to be even harder. It's going to be even harder. Where does it leave boxing? Now, I'm all for fighters getting paid. Right, I am, right? And you can't blame fighters going for where the money is. Boxing is a dangerous sport. We're not kicking the football around. We're not hitting a tennis ball. We're hitting people in the head, right? And people are getting damaged. It's a dangerous sport. So get as much as you can get. But when you're paying obscene amounts of money, Eddie Hearn saying we're all in. Of course you're all in, mate. Of course you are. You'd go to the moon if they're offering you that money. And fair play, right? We all would do it. But where's it going to leave the sport? Where's it going to leave it? What are we going to do? Is every big fight now going to be in Saudi Arabia? What happens if they don't want to pay? Oh, we're not fighting them. We'll hold out 4 years because we'll get it eventually. I fear for boxing. I do. I fear. Now, people might think I'm being negative and I'm talking bullshit here, but I'm not. I said it last year, right? It's on video. I said it last year. I had reservations about Saudi Arabia, just in the respect of fighters are going to be demanding more money now, right? The market has been inflated. It's not healthy. It's not healthy in any way, shape or form. It's not, right? Because people are just going to hold, managers, fighters, promoters, broadcasters are going to say, let's wait for Middle Eastern money because it's worth waiting 3 or 4 years. Haney and Tank, they might think, well, let's let this fight mature, right? And let's hold out for Saudi Arabian money, and they'll get obscene amounts of money. And I fear it goes down the lower ways. I do. And what's the sport going to be? What's it going to be? How are you going to negotiate a deal? Now, you've got these promoters now having this money thrown at them and fighters. Now, they've got a value now. Tyson Fury is going to think, this is how much I'm worth. And he's going to be right because he's been paid it. You're only worth what someone's willing to pay you. And if Saudi Arabia are throwing obscene amounts of money, I don't think that's a good thing for boxing. I think it's a very, very dangerous thing for boxing because where does it end? Is every fight going to be in the Middle East now? Are the Middle East just going to have their own fight league and just put every fight there? Like, I'm all for other countries and territories coming into boxing. Boxing is universal, right? It's for everyone. But throwing money out like this, I don't agree with because heavyweights coming through now, the younger generation, the next Tyson Fury, the next Anthony Joshua, they're going to think, well, why should I fight the undisputed champion or the world champion? Tyson Fury earned this. Anthony Joshua earned this. If they can earn that, I want this. So we're not going to make those fights. We're not going to do it. We're going to hold out in the hope that Saudi Arabia throw money at us. And they're not going to do it, they're going to do it, every 2 years? Or they're going to do it every year? They're going to do it regularly? What's going to happen with it? And as I keep saying, if it filters down the weights, what's going to be left of the sport? Like, people may go, well, we want the big fights. Now, yes, if the big fights were happening regularly, you have to grin and bear it, don't you? The atmosphere is not great over there, but at the end of the day, if they're putting on the fights, they're putting on the fights. But what happens if they're not willing to put money up? What happens then? Are these fighters just going to hold out? Because they're going to think they're not valued. They're going to think, well, why is this fighter doing that? Why is this fighter getting that? What happens if a fighter comes through who's got a big social media following, another Conor McGregor type or another Floyd Mayweather type? Could you imagine if this was 8 years ago when Floyd was the money Mayweather and he rebranded himself? Well, it wasn't 8 years ago. It was 2009, 10. So it was 13 years ago or whatever it was. Could you imagine if we were in this scenario where the big fights were happening in the Middle East? Floyd Mayweather would have fought in the Middle East all the time, right? I just don't agree with it. I think it's dangerous. I think it's incredibly dangerous. You're going to get greedy people now demanding. Where does it leave the fans? People may say, well, the fights are getting made. Okay, granted, I understand that. But they don't get made, do they? And now at the negotiation table, this brings another dimension. It's another politic. It's another thing to stop a fight happening, because a manager can say, leave this. Gervonta, don't fight Devin Haney or Shakur, right? Go and fight Pitbull Cruz. Go and fight the other fighters, because in 2-3 years' time, Saudi Arabia will give you mega money. So let's just wait, right? And then that might not even happen. So, look, I want to see it. It'll be a mega event. I'm all for the event, but I'm not for overinflating the market. Let me know what you think. Do you think I have a valid point? Do you agree with me? Do you just want to see the fights? Like, comment, subscribe, let me know.